Welcome back. Relatives of the victims of the Malaysian airliner MH17 shot down over Ukraine back in July of 2014. They're suing Russia now and President Vladimir Putin for $330 million over their alleged involvement in the incident. Aviation attorney Jerry Skinner, who previously worked on compensation claims following the Lockerbie disaster back in 1988, filed the claim. He joins us right now from Cincinnati. Sir, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Maria.
Make
Glad
the
to be here.
case. What are you trying to get out of this for these victims?
Well, I represent Australians, Malaysians, and one family from New Zealand. And they're after what the court in Europe calls just satisfaction. Now, that can be simply a determination of accountability, or it can be, based on recent precedent, a payment of not compensatory damages, but damages for an aggravated or exemplary damages for an act that needs to be discouraged.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you think you're going to really get from Vladimir Putin? I mean, you know, here's a guy who is not necessarily even going to acknowledge that there was some rhyme or reason for shooting the plane down.
Well, you know, Maria, these things, like in the Lockerbie case and several others that I have worked on, in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, you don't know. You take the remedy that's available, you process it, you get the evidence. Frankly, you keep the evidence alive. You keep the ball in the air. And sometimes the defendant will come to you and say it's time to sit down and talk about it. There's a great deal of international pressure on them, even now as the second anniversary is coming, and the Joint Investigative Task Force in Holland is completing their job. So we really don't know. You kind of have to ride it out like a roller coaster.
How long do these cases tend to play out? Is there a chance this goes on for years and maybe even goes beyond? Who knows how long Putin will be there?
Well, frankly, everybody asks that because of the experience with Pan American 103. However, in that case, there was no determination, there was no evidence available concerning the involvement of the Libyan Jamrahara agents who planted the bomb on board the aircraft. In this case, we have just the opposite. We have almost everything that occurred has been recorded, filmed, photographed. There are witness statements. There are people that are known. And because it was part of a bigger conflict in the eastern Donbas, the area of eastern Ukraine, why it's well recorded. When we submitted our application to the court, we submitted almost 3,000 pages of documentary evidence, including photographs, radar data,
right,
information like that.
Dagan.
Jerry.
So I don't think it's going to take that kind of time.
Jerry, in terms of the international pressure that's being brought to bear on Russia, put that in perspective.
Well, I know the Australians, for the general overall situation in the Crimea, were the first to institute sanctions against Russia. Then it broadened out to the United States and European Union countries. I know that there's pressure now to relieve some of those sanctions, but in terms of timing and pressure, my office is in Australia, and there's constantly something coming out from the Australian government discussing this, talking directly to the Russians, trying to get them to cooperate with the investigation and provide the evidence they have. So far, they haven't even been willing to provide evidence. But the international pressure certainly is building, especially now with the second anniversary coming up in July.
Sure, yeah. Jerry, we'll be watching. Very important developments here. Thanks so much. Jerry Skinner joining us this morning.